Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back. And it has been about 2 weeks since I posted anything. It's been a long time. I actually just got married last week and it was really fun. So if you have been married before, you know that is very, very time consuming with the planning and getting stuff and then taking everything to the party venue. Anyway, so that's why I have been busy. Not only that, but I got a special treat for you guys. I have been working on an application for the TCG. It is going to be across iPhones and Androids. I am very close on finishing it up. Very excited. It is going to be called Card Vault. And in there, you're going to be able to track your collection. You're going to know how many copies you have, because that is the biggest problem we have in this TCG is how many damn Biomons do you have? You know, it's like, oh, I have 4. Especially with these pull rates of this BT15 is just absolutely stupid. So I am working on that. So stay tuned for that. I did post on which deck profiles you guys wanted to see. So here we are with the very first deck profile of BT15, which is Phoenixmon. And I will be straight up, it is not a tier 1 deck, maybe not even a tier 2. Maybe it's like a 2.5, close to 2, but it is very, very fun and it pops off. The problem with this deck is that it does lack in removal and you need to set up, and then you get a really wide board. Sometimes you just can't get that finishing swing or that last hit. Let's get into this deck profile. For the DGX, plain and simple, 4 of the Yokomon from BT15. This one, on deletion, return 1 card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in one of its traits from the trash to your hand. This is very important because the whole gimmick of this deck is getting cards from your trash, and then that triggers the new Sora, allowing you to play Digimon for free. It's very, very nice. So we are sticking with that Yokomon because of that. Not only that, I mean, you're able to just get Digimon back into your hand, which is very good, especially for that Saberdramon with Raid and Retaliation. We'll get into it, but you'll just keep cycling your cards after you just, you're like, you really don't care if they die. Let's start off with this new Biomon. Really nice. Really hard to pull out of a case. I think I've pulled 7. So that is, all these cards are just nuts to pull, especially the SR rookies, because they all are SRs. This Biomon, start your main phase by trashing 1 Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in one of its traits in your hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 red card among them to the hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. This is really cool because sometimes, I mean, the old Biomon you drop and then you reveal. Here you this one you really want to digivolve in the bottom. And then when you move up, it triggers that searching for free, right? As long as you trash something. And it really doesn't matter because the egg allows you to get it back from your trash. And what I really love about it is that you could get a red card. So you could get a tamer, you could get option cards, you can get any Digimon. And that's really nice. And then for the inherit, your turn once per turn. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory. Now for the next Biomon, we are still sticking to the BT13 Biomon because we are playing Christy. I did try playing it without Christy, and it functioned, but it was just so much better with Christy and then with this Biomon, just because you're able to warp, right? So this Biomon on play, if played by an effect, by returning 1 of your Christy Daemons to the hand, this Digimon may digivolve into Garudamon in the hand, ignoring its digivolution requirements and without paying the cost. These are some crazy combos, especially with the new Sora. Then you have the Christy there. You'll play the Biomon for free, and then the Christy, you return it to the hand. Jump from Biomon to Garudamon, then the new Garudamon comes in. You could replay that Christy again, or you could play another Sora. These combos are actually really, really fun. On deletion, draw 1. That's pretty much it. Move this up real quick. And then the last 4 of the Biomon, of course, you have to run the BT11 Searcher just because you want to get your pieces as quickly as possible. This one, on play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 red Digimon card with a vaccine in its trait, and 1 red tamer among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. The inherit, if you have a tamer in play, on deletion, you gain 1 memory. I have seen some people run 2 of the on deletion Biomons. If it's your turn, gain a memory. I would just say, why do you need that extra memory for? And then the new Biomon line kind of has that if you remove security, but you could argue if you get blocked, you don't get it. So I get it. Now we're going to move on to the champions and 2 of the new Birdramons. I've seen people not play it. I've seen people play it. I've seen people play more than 2. I'm sticking to 2 just because this whole deck allows you to get pieces from your trash like nothing. I don't think the amount of cards in the profile really matters if you run 3 or 4 or 2, because if it gets trash or gets deleted, then you can just recycle it. This Birdramon does exactly that. When digivolving, return 1 red Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in one of its traits from the trash to your hand. Really nice because it will trigger your Sora, which we'll get into when we get into the Tamers. And then the Inherit is the same as the Biomon. Once per turn, when a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, gain 1 memory. So you can get up to 2 if you build up the new line of the Birdramon. Up next, we have 2 of the BT11 Birdramons. This one is the blocker. And let me try to get that clear. There we go. So on blocker, and then on deletion, you may play 1 red tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. A lot of people do run more than 2. I think I've seen run 4 or 3, and you can just because he's a blocker. And as I stated in the beginning, a lot of times you can't really finish in that one turn, so you just need a blocker. 3 of the Saberdramon, and when I first built this, I'm like, you need to run 4. There's no way you should not be running 4, especially of these, right? But like I said, because there is a lot of recycling here, when it gets deleted, you can just pick it up anyway. So the only downside of this is digivolving for 3 and kind of passing turn, or it kind of shortens the plays that you could do by digivolving for 3, which is why the Christies are really good, because you do get a memory. If you don't know what Raid does, Raid, you can switch your attack target to your opponent's highest Digimon DP. And then Retaliation, after the battle, if it's deleted, it basically takes the Digimon with them, which is really good because now we have a way of removal. What sucks is that you're kind of killing your stack out of the way if you're trying to build up. On deletion, return 1 red or purple Digimon card from your trash to the hand. This is very nuts. This is a staple card. I would suggest you get as many of these as you can, especially if you play purple. I think purple is going to be good. Ravemon, you could put it in there. Anyway, let's continue on. And then last of the champions, I am running 2 BT1 Birdramons. This one on play, 1 of your Digimon gains security attack +1. So now this Birdramon is really good because if you have the Sora is a memory set tamer. And then Christie gives you a memory if you have a bird or avian in play. It'll leave you at 4. You drop that Birdramon, give 1 of your Digimon security attack +1. Ideally a Phoenixmon or any Digimon at this point, but then you can go ahead and swing security attack +1, which is really nice. I was running it at 3, but then I saw it too much, which isn't a bad thing because then you could just, it helps you build up evil for 2. But at that point, if you're going to do that, you might as well run another blocker or the new Birdramon. So that's it for my lineup for level 4s. For the level 5s, we have to showcase the new Garudamon Ace. This card is actually really good, especially if you're going against like Oryumon because they all have blockers. Any D Brigade, they have blockers, or Bergadramon gives them blockers. So to hand counter Blast Digivolution, on play and when digivolving, you may play 1 play cost 4 or lower red tamer from your hand without paying the cost. Then all turns once per turn. When one of your tamers is played, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. It's really nice. I love that it's alternate, so if they were to swing at security and then you reveal a Sora, now his effect could trigger and you could potentially pop 1 of their blockers. Blockers aren't necessarily that popular, but it still pops something, If you do have that Garudamon in the trash, you end up digivolving to the Birdramon for 2. You pick it up, and if you swing, because here you kind of want to be aggressive, because you want to have your opponent's security as low as possible. We'll talk about why. So you swing. If it survives, now they swing over it. And now you can just blast, right? You blast, and then you play out a Sora and or a Christie. So now if this gets deleted, you lose the memory. Hopefully you don't. But if it gets deleted, now you can play a Biomon. We are playing a hefty amount of tamers. So we are playing the 4 of the BT13 Garudamon. This one has an on play and when digivolving, you can play 1 red tamer with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. On deletion, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, which is good because like I said, this deck kind of struggles with deleting popping things. And if you read the cards, it seems like no, because the Phoenixmon has a way of deleting Digimon. To finish it off, we're playing just one Garudamon, the blocker, and I stuck with 8 of the Garudamons, and you saw that was 9 champions, just because of being able to warp, and then you get to play these for free from effects. So 8 is still a good count for the ultimates. This one is a blocker, last minute blocker if you need to, block. Then on deletion, you may play 1 red tamer card with the play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. That is it for the level 5s. So we're going to talk about the new Phoenixmon. It's actually a really good card. And again, I am not running 4 because you're able to recycle a lot from your trash back to your hand. So you don't really need to run that many. 3, on play and on deletion. If your opponent has 3 or fewer security cards, delete one of their Digimon with the lowest DP. If they have 4 or more, trash the top card of their security stack, which is nice. But like I said, they could kind of get around it because it has to delete the lowest DP. And there are kind of whiteboard decks, right? You're talking about Numemon. Numemon is whiteboard. Orumon with Brigadramon is a whiteboard deck. So those are hard matchups against this Phoenixmon. When digivolving, you may play 1 red Digimon card with 5,000 DP or less, or 1 red tamer card from your hand without paying the cost. I actually love this Phoenixmon more than the BT11 one because the BT11 one is tamer dependent. This one is just digivolve and go ahead, play some 5,000 or a tamer. Let's go. Which will lead on to, we'll still run 2 of the BT11 Phoenixmon. So we're running a total of 5 level 6s. You could run more, you could run less, up to you. So BT11 Phoenixmon, your turn once per turn. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you could trigger one of this Digimon's on deletion effects. So keep in mind, it is his own, and any of the stack that you have underneath that have on deletion, you could trigger those as well, which is really nice. But this Phoenixmon's on deletion, you may play 1 red Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in one of its traits and 3,000 DP or less from your hand without paying the cost. For each red tamer, you can add 2,000 DP to the maximum card. So late game, this is very nice because now you're going to end up, dropping Phoenix for free. So that is why I'm not really focusing on running too many of these, because you kind of want to see this more of late when you already have like 4 or 6 tamers on the board. Now, I was trying Suchaumon, the ace that just came out. It works, but he's not a vaccine. So a lot of cards that are searching for vaccines, you're not going to be able to get it. He's a virus. So that is why I took it out. And still playable for sure. But if you know me, I love being consistent. Now let's go on to the tamers, and we'll start off with the Sora. Sora is awesome. She's a memory set tamer. Then you have all turns. When a red Digimon card returns from your trash to the hand, by returning this tamer to the hand, you may play 13,000 DP or less red Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal in one of its traits from your hand without paying the cost. For each of your opponent's security cards, remove 2,000 DP from the effect. This is why I was saying you want to chip really early on, because then when you activate Sora, you can play Garudamons, which are 7k, you can play Phoenixmon, which are 11, and that's really what you want to play. Or you can even play Saberdramon, which is 5k. If your opponent has 5 security, then you can play any rookie, right? And then I believe if it's if they have 4, then you can play a champion, 3 ultimate, 2 you should not still be able to play Phoenix. And then when they have 1 security left, that's when you can play a Phoenixmon and basically everything in your deck. The thing with the tamers is that if they get popped, there's no way of you recycling the tamers. You can only recycle the Digimon, so you could run 4. I'm sticking more of a balanced route here, which leads me on to 3 of the Christie Daemons from BT13. Multiple reasons why I run this Christie. 1, start of your main phase. If you have a card with avian, bird in its trait, you gain 1 memory. So now having these 2 in the battle area, you're going to go to 4, which is crucial because now, like I said, you can play that Birdramon on play security attack +1. You can digivolve to Saberdramon, keeping turn, even though you could, digivolve for 3 and keep turn. Anyway, on play, one of your Digimon gain on deletion, you may play 1 Beomon from your hand or trash without paying the cost until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's nice because you keep recycling Beomons if your Digimon get deleted. And then if it's the on play, you could keep searching. What's nice about this Christie is if it's in the security and it gets hit, you could give it to one of your Digimon. So now let's say you have a blocker Birdramon, you block, it gets deleted, you go ahead and play a Beomon. So now you kind of have a Digimon already and you blocked. So then to round it up, 3 of the Akios. This one, if you want to run 4 of, by all means, go for it. I was running 4 and then 2 of the Christies and then 3 of the Soras. At some point, I was running 4 Akios, 4 Soras, and then 2 of the Christies, but I just felt like it was too tamer heavy, which that is what this deck is. It's just tamer heavy. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 red Digimon card with Vaccine and a trait among them to your hand. Place the rest in the bottom. This is why I'm saying Suchaumon wouldn't be a target for this, because now you're going to bottom deck it. And then your turn, when you play a red Digimon card, avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal, in one of its traits, by an effect, by suspending this tamer, that Digimon gains rush. So this is why if you want to play 4, that's why. Because now if you recycle with the Sora, use Sora's effect, play a Digimon, you have an Akio in play. You played it by an effect. Now you go ahead and tap Akio, and now whichever Digimon, I'm just going to bring out the Saberdramon here. So if you need to pop a Digimon real quick, you play the Saberdramon for free from Sora's effect. Have the Akio, go ahead and raid Retaliation since you have Rush already. Let's move on to the options. Another one that is very good for this deck, and it is a new one, is the Wings of Love. I've seen people play 2, 4, I stuck with 3, just because there's ways to play Tamers anyway. So let's talk about what this card does. Wings of Love. 2 cost, main effect, you may play 1 red Tamer card with the play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Then if you have a Tamer with Sora in its name, return 1 red Digimon card from the trash to the hand. So the whole gimmick with this is that, let's say you have this, play a Wings of Love, no matter what the hell you have, say you already have a Sora, play Wings of Love. Even if you didn't have that, you can play a red Tamer, 4 costs or less. Then if you have a Sora, then you go ahead and get a Digimon from your trash. And now that will activate Sora's effect. And now you bring Sora back to the hand. And then depending on how many security your opponent has, you are able to just drop a Digimon. Say we drop that Phoenix. Akio now, since it's your turn and it got played by an effect, now you give it Rush. Now you swing. This Phoenixmon's effect would trigger playing another one. So now you can play another one, and now you see why multiple of the Akios are very important, which is why 4 is probably a better bet than 3. So that is what Wings of Love can do. Not only that, if you're at 1 and you want to drop a Memory Set Tamer, you could just leave your opponent at 1 and then just drop the Sora. Like, it's nuts. The security effect of this is you may play 1 Biomon from your hand or trash without paying the cost, then add this card to the hand, which is absolutely bonkers, because if it gets hit in the security, and I gotta find all these cards now. Now you play a Biomon from your hand or trash, and if you have, say you just have all that stuff, whatever. You have 3 Tamers here. Really just these 2. Again, Akio is probably the most important one. You play it, got played by an effect, you could give it Rush now. And now on play, since you got played by an effect, now you can go into Garuda if you like, and now you can play another Tamer. Or the other Garuda, which probably might be better so you don't get popped with the Ace. And now you go ahead and swing at the same time. Sorry, I did that wrong. So when you Digivolve to the Garudamon, the Biomon brings Christy to the hand. Then you go into the Garudamon and you get to play Christy again. And ideally, like I said, we're going to want probably not that one. What the hell? I saw it. This one. There you go. Right? Digivolve, you replay the Christy. Now you give it on play, on deletion, play a Biomon. Swing. If it gets deleted, you can do all that over again because now you play the Biomon again. It got played by the trash. Bring Christy back. Go there. Do that. And now you would need another Akio to activate Rush. And now you get to swing again. And then you get the idea. You're able to cycle all over again. And now here's one of the cards that I think does help this deck is 2 Crimson Flares. Crimson Blaze can be very good, especially against D-Brigade, Numemon, right? All those cards, all those decks that play Digimon by effects can be very good. But let me read what Crimson Blaze does. Crimson Flare, I'm sorry. Main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. Then, if you have a red tamer in play, activate one of the on deletion effects of one of your red Digimon with vaccine in its traits. Why do I like that? Because, where are you? Because the new Phoenix has that on deletion. If your opponent has 3 or fewer cards, security cards, delete one of your opponent's lowest level DP. So I kind of like doing this because it's kind of in conjunction. You're going to pop 2 Digimon. So if your opponent has their main monster, which is like a level 6, and then they have, let's say, a memory blocker or whatever, a level 4. Play Crimson Flare, you delete that, and now you activate Phoenixmon's on deletion. And if there's 3 or less security in your opponent's stack, now you get to delete your opponent's main Digimon. Which is also good for the D Brigade because if they have multiple bodies, they can protect themselves. But really love Crimson Flare, and again, you can activate any of your Digimon's on deletion. So if you are stacked with on deletion, you can return, if you have the Yokomon underneath the Phoenix, right? Now you can activate the on deletion of Yokomon and get a Saber, which that would trigger Sora, because now you return the Digimon from your trash. So that'll trigger Sora, and now you can cycle Sora, and now you can play a Digimon because it was by an effect. So there's a lot that you can do here. It's just really fun. And to wrap it up, you really need to, with this deck, I think you need to be aggressive. Mind you, all the red decks are aggressive, right? So we're adding security attack +1 lightning joust. And I was on the fence of doing the plugin, but it is a 2 cost. And then if it's in security, it's going to reveal cards. You pick up a tamer, which can be good, but then you can bottom deck pieces that you might need. So I'm sticking with the lightning joust. One of your Digimon gets 2,000 DP for the turn, which could also be good if you're trying to swing over something and not get deleted. Then if the number of cards in your security stack is less than or equal to your opponent's, one of your Digimon gains security attack +1. So really nice because you could use up to 2, right, in one go, so long as your opponent has more security than you do. You could, if you end up playing the Phoenixmon that gives you security attack +1 by Sora's effect, that's 1, right? Even if you're at 2 or whatnot, you play by an effect, play 2 lightning joust. Now you're giving a Digimon security attack +3. So I really do think that this deck needs more aggression, as in burning through your opponent's security. So I'm really adding the lightning joust just for that. And the security effect is add this card to its owner's hand. That wraps up the deck profile right there. What do you guys think? How are you guys running this? How do you guys feel about Phoenixmon? Next deck on the list is Oriyumon. You guys did vote for that, so that is the one that I'm working on next, and I'm going to go down the line. So many deck profiles are coming in BT15 just because we have a lot that got released. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you guys there.